Venezuela is once again accepting flights carrying Venezuelan migrants deported from the U.S. after the two countries reached a repatriation agreement. U.S. officials say the first flight landed early this morning carrying nearly 200 deportees, including some alleged members of the Tren de Aragua gang. Earlier this month, the Trump administration invoked a rarely used 18th century law to deport several hundred Venezuelans to El Salvador, claiming they were gang members as well. An appeals court hearing is underway in Washington right now over the use of that act. I want to bring in CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. Camilo, what do we know about the appeals court hearing?
Hi, Lindsay. This high-stakes hearing over the use of the Alien Enemies Act by the Trump administration is still ongoing before three federal judges here in Washington, D.C. But we have heard already arguments from the Justice Department lawyer representing the Trump administration, and he is essentially arguing to these federal judges that the lower court judge who blocked the president's proclamation is essentially second-guessing the president's authority over national security and immigration policy. He called the order by the lower court judge utterly unprecedented, but one of the circuit appellate judges said that the policy itself, the proclamation by the president, Lindsay, is itself also unprecedented. As we have talked about before, this is the first time that the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 is invoked during peacetime, not when the country is actively at war. And it is the first time that it is now being invoked against nationals, migrants of a country that the U.S. is not currently at war with. And so this is a really unprecedented case. We'll see what the federal appeals court rules. But as we know, Venezuela is already sending some planes to the U.S. to prevent their citizens, their nationals, from being sent to countries like El Salvador and to be imprisoned there.
Camilo, CBS News has confirmed the Internal Revenue Service is working with immigration officials to come to an agreement on sharing tax data to help locate undocumented migrants they're trying to deport. Can you explain that for us? What the impact would it be, and do you expect that would be challenged?
We can report here at CBS News, Lindsay, that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the IRS are currently in the process of forging an agreement that would allow ICE deportation agents to obtain some IRS data and databases on suspected immigrants who are in the country illegally, specifically data and information related to so-called ITIN numbers. And these are numbers that are used by undocumented immigrants and other non-citizens to file taxes because they are not eligible, Lindsay, for Social Security numbers, unlike U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents. How that information is used is obviously the million-dollar question. But of course, the Trump administration, as you know, is in the process of fulfilling that promise by the president to conduct the largest deportation operation in American history, and it has been trying to expand the pool of people that it can arrest and deport from the country. And obviously, this seems like an effort to locate even more people who are in the country unlawfully and who can be deported as part of that deportation operation, Lindsay.
Okay, Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you so much.